incarcerated for 29 years of a life without parole sentence. I have been portrayed as Black Widow, Ice Princess, a killer, and none of those things could be further from the truth.
This story had it all. A beautiful young woman, a seductress of a young teenage boy.
And perhaps most importantly, murder.
Pam, did you have anything to do with your husband's murder?
People were asking why this happened and why Pam Smart could lure a young man into killing for her.
To be seductive, to get Billy Flynn to kill her husband.
I never would have done it if Pam didn't tell me to. She was the first girl I ever loved. I pulled the trigger. God forgive me.
Your trial defined media frenzy.
This was the first trial to be broadcast live from start to finish, before OJ, before the Menendez brothers.
It was reality TV before there was reality TV.
I meet Pam Smart. She's beautiful. She's intelligent. You know, she's an adult. And she likes me.
So when will it happen?
I think it's made into a movie, To Die For, which starred Joaquin Phoenix and Nicole Kidman.
Did you get the gun? A lot of people felt like they knew everything about me because they saw the movie.
The boys who actually committed the murder are already free. So why is it that Pamela Smart served a life sentence with zero possibility of parole?
Nobody cared anything about me being a human being, a person with feelings, nothing but that mistake.
What do you think is your best hope for getting out? There is one thing Pam Smart could do today. They could give her that chance to get out of jail. But she won't do it. We're gonna sit here if that's okay. I know this is not your first rodeo.
No, it's not.
It was such a notorious crime that I was really intrigued when she agreed to a jailhouse interview. She had been maintaining her innocence for 3 decades. We're speeding? We all wondered what it would be like to meet this woman, a woman that a jury was convinced had masterminded her husband's murder. And so just to be clear, did you mastermind the murder against your husband?
Absolutely not. No, I did not. It's been, almost 3 decades and it hurts.
You talked about all that you've lost, including the potential to be a mom.
Yeah, and that makes me sad because I love children. I wanted to be a mother and now, I've lost all my years. It seems like the whole world's passing by and, I'm still here.
Pamela was really the golden girl of true crime in the 90s. It was a story we had never really heard before. In the 90s, she was right up there with Tanya and Amy Fisher. This was the era of the bad girl for sure.
And right around this time is when you've got Madonna doing erotica and doing the sex book. And the idea that women are not the victims of sexual relationships, but they can put notches in the bedpost same as men can. The reasons why the crime had taken place, the motivations, the passions that resulted in what happened seemed to fascinate people.
It all starts in Miami, Florida.
Mama said, don't worry about the weather.
My name is Diane Diamond. I am a veteran journalist, reporter, and I've been covering the Pamela Smart case since the mid-90s. Pamela is one of 3 children. She has a sister and a brother. Her mother, a homemaker, who took homemaking very seriously.
She was always there, and when we had a problem, we didn't have to wait till she came home from work because she was home.
My husband was a pilot. Pam loved being with Dad. She's very close to him. She was very happy. She was a sweet child. She had a lot of friends.
Kind of happy-go-lucky.
I think so, yes. Then her family moved to New Hampshire. This is the American dream. A low crime rate, beautiful parks, greenery, people are friendly. Then came time for college. Pam Smart decides to return to Florida, and she enrolls at FSU.
When I went to college, I worked 3 jobs, 52 hours a week, and graduated from college a year early.
Pamela Smart was an overachiever. She received a degree in communication arts, and her goal was to be a television news reporter.
My aspiration was to be a journalist and to be in the media.
She wanted to be another Barbara Walters.
Didn't we all?
Don't touch that dial. You're listening to WBFS Tallahassee, 89.7 FM.
She was a DJ on the college radio station, and she hosted not one but 2 different radio shows.
I did the rock show at night.
She loved Van Halen. She loved Motley Crue. Her moniker was the Maiden of Metal.
I didn't go to college and go out partying. I worked all the time.
So you skipped convalescence.
I kind of skipped relationships. I had no boyfriend in college until I met my husband, and that was it.
In 1994, everybody wanted to hear from Pamela Smart. She gave her first interview to my colleague Diane Sawyer.
Well, no beepers are gonna go off.
How did you meet Greg Smart?
I met Greg when I came home for Christmas during a break one year. Originally, I wasn't attracted to him, but I then became attracted to him.
What about him?
He was very outgoing and always smiling. He seemed fun to be around.
He was a rocker, the long hair, the attitude. She loved him.
She said, you know, Mom, he's the one. We liked him, too.
Greg and Pam Smart bonded over Van Halen songs like You Really Got Me,
Girl, you really got me down.
Hot for Teacher.
I got it bad, so bad. Hot for Teacher.
Greg seemed very glamorous to her. He had this magnificent head of hair.
That's the guy Pam told me she fell in love with.
So what does he do? He leaves town and moves to Florida to be with Pam.
There's something very innocent and very normal and very sweet about it. They fell in love. They dated for a while. He came down to Florida to be with her.
He wasn't interested in going to college. He was just interested in being with Pam.
It's a relationship that heats up lightning fast, but fizzles out almost as quickly.
You would never know that in less than 1 year, Greg Smart would be murdered.
Welcome for the very first time, Mr. and Mrs. Greg Smart.
Greg and Pam got married on May 7th, 1989.
We gave a very beautiful wedding. We look forward to having grandchildren.
Pam Smart was decked out like Princess Diana. The big, poofy, white wedding dress. He was handsome in a steel gray tuxedo.
When you look at the photographs and the video of that wedding, I don't know that I've seen a happier couple.
I was only 21 years old when I got married. I was very much in love with my husband. I thought that Greg and I would have a fulfilling future, that we would have a family and children.
Do you still feel married to your husband?
I do. And you know, it's weird that you would ask me that because I was just filling out an application for something for in here yesterday, and it says, are you married? And I put yes, you know, and date of marriage, because I am still married. I'm widowed, but I'm still married.
The couple moved back to New Hampshire.
They move into a very well-to-do neighborhood in a beautiful condominium.
Derry, New Hampshire's nickname is the Space Town. It's named because it was the home of Alan Shepard, the astronaut. The poet Robert Frost comes from there.
Something we were withholding made us weak.
Pamela got a job with the public school system, and she became the media liaison among about a dozen public schools.
She's introducing students into television. She was able to write press releases. She was able to create content. This job by no means was what her career ambition was, but it was a stepping stone.
I had a very good job. I made a lot of money for myself. I was 22 years old. I had a 40-something-year-old secretary. I had a job where I had 4 weeks paid vacation, full medical, dental, all of that. I was my own boss. I really made my own money.
Greg sort of settled down a little bit. He cut off his long hair. He went into the respectable insurance business with his father.
So years later, when Pam Smart's case is so infamous, there are TV movies being made about it. There's a scene in Murder, New Hampshire, where Greg's haircut is made out to be the first sign of trouble.
I remember exactly filming that scene on the doorstep when Greg comes home. Pam looks at him and hardly recognizes him. He's shorn, he's cut everything off. And instead of being pleased, she's absolutely horrified. Your hair, what happened to your hair?
Oh. The barber's still sweeping it up even as we speak. He's gotten a haircut because he's gotten a job. Horrified, she goes, "You cut your hair." And he says,
Ma'am, I may look like Donald Trump, but I still feel like John Bon Jovi.
She may have dated a rocker, but she married an insurance agent.
Real life sets in. He became an insurance salesman. She got a good job. Pretty soon it was a routine.
It seemed that this couple had everything going for them. Good jobs, a nice rented home, good furniture. They even had a little dog.
So, on the surface, it looks great. It's just not going to turn out that way.
Greg was working a lot, and he would work at night, go to people's homes, pitch insurance policies, and Pam was left alone.
When she first met her husband, he was kind of a rocker rebel, which is why she was drawn to him. And then after marriage, segued into this very traditional role.
Her mother later told me that during this period, it seemed like Pam finally stopped focusing on just work and became more social, but a little immaturely social. She started to hang around with the high school students when she went to work every day.
Greg's working all the time. Pamela's hanging out with teenagers. This marriage is getting bumpy.
They were very young, which probably helped their marriage to deteriorate. Clearly, there was a dynamic that wasn't working.
In her first year of marriage, her husband had come home and talked to her about having an affair. And I think it crushed her deeply.
I was very much in love with my husband from the time he was my boyfriend through when he was my husband, and he had an affair. And when that happened, I was devastated. I thought there was something wrong with me. I thought that I wasn't good enough.
So she was feeling like her husband had betrayed her.
In that exclusive interview with Diane Sawyer, Pam Smart remembers the night her husband didn't come home from work.
One night I went to bed and I was expecting him to come home. And when I woke the next morning, he wasn't there. He was out with a friend of his. And he had been drinking, so he decided to stay at his house. And it turns out that that wasn't what happened.
What did happen?
He had met someone, and he had stayed with her the night.
Was he sorry? Was it a fight? What happened?
I was very angry, and I was very hurt.
Did it change the marriage?
Well, I believe it made me less trustworthy. It had an effect on my self-esteem. I had thought originally that it was just, he and I. And now I realized that someone could come between that. And I was scared of that.
When he cheated on her, it obviously broke her heart and changed her, changed the marriage. That's the turning point in this story. His affair.
Pam had no idea that a chance encounter was about to change her world forever.
I fell in love with her.
On May 1st, 1990, Pamela is at a school board meeting. She gets home about 10 o'clock. She goes to the front door and she notices that the light is out. This is odd. And She opens the front door, and in the vestibule is her husband.
She had arrived at her home and began screaming that there was something wrong with her husband.
She starts banging on doors. Somebody call 911. Hurry, hurry. My husband, my husband.
Yes, it's emergency in 4E, Summer Hill condominium. There's someone passed out. I don't know, a girl is hysterical in here. She just ran over. Her husband is passed out.
I was working as an investigative reporter in New Hampshire, and the scanner radio goes off, and we understand that a young man has been murdered inside his condominium.
The telephone calls that came to the Derry Police Department all came from neighbors who heard her screaming and yelling.
You know why he's passed out there, man?
He's on the way. Do you know why he's passed out? No, we don't know.
Pamela is outside. She's sobbing. She wants to know what's going on. Is there a burglar in the house? Is Greg okay? Is he breathing? What's happening?
Pam Smart found his body. He was in the entranceway to his condominium. He was sprawled out on the ground.
The first thing that we noticed was the body of the victim, Gregory Smart. There appeared to be a blue towel wrapped around his head.
He's got a bullet wound in the back of his head. This looks like a mob hit. This is an execution.
Right away, police had no idea who could be responsible.
In most cases, pretty quickly, the murders make sense. Somebody's involved in gangs or drugs, or there's a history of domestic dispute in their lives. In this case, here's this young man at the beginning of his life and career in insurance. He's not married a year yet to a lovely young woman, and he's dead. The police were groping for leads at the time.
He had apparently expired, they determined almost immediately.
Pam called the house and she was hysterical and she screamed into the phone, "Mom, come quick, Greg's dead." And inside I was trembling and I thought, well, maybe there's been an accident.
People in that house that night told me that she was a wreck. She was an inconsolable mess.
She did seem extremely shaken at the time. Extremely emotionally distraught.
She was soaking wet. Her clothing from sobbing. We were all a mess, saying how, why, is it true?
In that first interview with Diane Sawyer, Pam talks about the tragic night.
What happened to Greg is the most horrible thing I've ever gone through in my life. And I'm still haunted every day by memories of what must have happened to him inside our house before he was killed. And although I wasn't there, I feel that because of that, I'll never know how Greg was feeling at the time. I keep thinking of how afraid he must have been and how senseless this whole tragedy was. And a lot of times I still can't even believe that he's gone.
Greg Smart still has on the clothes from work.
It looks like Greg must have walked into the middle of a botched, screwed up burglary.
We noticed that several things were moved. The stereo system had been ransacked. CDs were laying on the floor. Pillowcases had been ripped open. Stuffing had been removed. We found that the upstairs as well had been ransacked. The dressers had been gone through completely.
However, police find that Greg still has his wallet. He still has a gold wedding band on his hand. Pamela reported nothing much was missing except a few little pieces of her jewelry.
This is not a usual burglary. Usually, burglars in this region don't carry firearms or guns. They're not planning on any kind of confrontation at all.
There was no forced entry at the front door or the back door. No signs, no disturbances of someone breaking in.
Something just doesn't seem right here.
Kitchen chef's knife is stuck into the ground.
They found a marijuana cigarette, a reefer in his car. So they think, well, maybe there's drugs involved. Dead end.
The next lead is that Greg might have had a gambling problem. They search phone records and they find that he had been calling a gambling service to go to Atlantic City. Maybe he owed somebody money. Again, dead end. Nothing there.
So every single lead that we got, all of them led to dead ends.
At that point, they really are searching and asking the public's help because they, frankly, don't have a break and they need one.
A dead body killed execution style. That is a stunner for Derry, New Hampshire.
And then a few days after Greg Smart's murder, something strange happens at his wake. A group of unidentified teenage boys show up, and everyone's thinking, who are those guys? And what's their connection to Greg?
So after weeks of investigating by the police and nothing is happening, nothing is popping, no new information, suddenly out of the blue,
a man walks into the police station with a .38 caliber revolver.
And he says, "This is my gun, and I think it was used in the Gregory Smart murder case."
Part of me is missing, and that's Greg.
It's gone forever.
And he'll never be back.
I remember it was a rather chilly day. It's always kind of very cool in New England, but this day seemed colder. You have all these young people, and they're all crying. I didn't want to be covering this funeral. I didn't want to be anywhere near it. Throughout the day, I kept seeing he had this big, vibrant, beautiful smile.
We can't sleep. I don't want to eat. I don't feel there's much left in my life.
Pamela Smart is struggling, it seemed to me, to even make it down the walkway. She was crying so hard. It was a horrifically emotional moment.
There is footage of me coming out of the funeral crying so bad that my father's holding me on one side and my sister's holding me on the other. And I did lose my husband that I did marry, and he did love me and I loved him.
There's no answers, and the police can't give them any answers. And that made their grieving that much more difficult.
He didn't deserve this. All I want is the people who did this sent to jail forever.
All of these people are just shredded, just racked with emotion over this horrendous thing. Never forget this is just a few days after Greg's murder, and my news director goes, "I guess you'll be interviewing Pamela Smart today, right? We'll have a story with you and her." And I'm like, "Yeah, that's gonna happen." He's just joking with me. And honest to God, like 3 minutes later, over the loudspeaker, I hear, "Bill Spencer, you have a phone call. It's Pamela Smart."
Pam gave her first media interview to a local television reporter 6 days after Greg was murdered.
She said she wanted to talk to me about the kind of guy that Greg was. She wanted people to know the type of person he really was.
At that time, she appears perfectly together. She has on a prim little outfit. Her makeup is perfect.
I feel like in a whole condominium complex like ours, somebody must have seen or heard something. Everybody's saying they didn't hear or see anything, and I keep thinking that I'll see him, walk in. But every day and every second that passes, I realize that that won't happen. And yesterday I went out to the cemetery, and that's kind of, when it really hit me, that he won't ever come back.
She does appear introspective. She does appear to miss her husband.
It's awful to just think about what happened in there. The only comfort I have is that, it just seems to have been a situation where Greg didn't know what was happening. And he just never knew, and it was really quick.
We usually don't like to bring animals and get dogs in your interview shot, but Pam invited Halen to come over, this little fuzzy dog, and we did the whole interview with Halen sitting right there next to us. She named her dog Halen because she was a Van Halen maniac.
Sometimes I ask myself, I can't figure out where the strength is coming from, but it seems like it's coming from inside. Maybe it's a part of Greg that's helping me go on with everything.
The interview kind of comes and goes with no fuss. No new witnesses coming forward. Until
the big break for police comes on June 10th, 1990, about 6 weeks after the murder.
Out of the blue, a grown man walks into the police station, but it's not the Derry police station, it's the Seabrook police station. It's about 40 miles away, where in walks this man.
He's carrying a handgun in his hand, and he says, "This is my gun, and I think it was used in the Gregory Smart murder case." They immediately call the investigators in, and this would turn out to be the major break in the story. And he proceeds to tell the investigators that he had this gun put away in his house, and when he went to retrieve it, it looked like it had been freshly cleaned, and he knew he had not cleaned it. So how did this happen?
The man tells police that his son's friend, a teenager by the name of Ralph Welch, told him that the gun may have been used to kill Greg Smart.
Police immediately get the gun. They do a ballistics comparison. The two bullets match up.
The tests show that that gun is the weapon that killed Greg Smart. It is probably the most important physical piece of evidence they're going to find.
This is a big break for the police.
That very same day, June 10th, 1990, the police haul in that teenager, Ralph Welch, for a videotaped interview.
Okay, it's June 10th, and it's 15:24 hours by my watch. I'm Detective Barry Cherowitz, and with me is Ralph Welch.
So, Ralph Welch tells Detective Barry Cherowitz about a secret conversation he had with the son of the man who turned in that .38 caliber revolver.
So and he told me the story how it happened. Who else there?
So police get Ralph Welch talking. And remember, he's a teenager talking to cops. And he spills it all.
He told you the story about what? About how what? He told me how they did it. How they did what? Kill Greg Smart.
Ralph Welch tells police about learning of 3 teenage boys who went to Greg Smart's house that night with the intent to murder him. These are the 3 boys that Welch names in that interview: Billy Flynn, Pete Randall, and Vance, aka J.R. Latimer. It's especially startling because they're just high school kids. Latimer supposedly waited in the getaway car.
So they went there and they broke into the place. And they set it up to make it look like a burglary. And I guess the guy tried to run or something. They grabbed him. They threw his dog in the cellar. Pete said he held the guy's head while Bill shot him.
The juveniles that were involved in the murder, beginning with Billy Flynn, all of them had specific problems in their lives or with the police too. The Seabrook police, they were familiar with the kids involved already.
So Peter was the one that shot him? No. Pete said he held his head. Did he say how he held his head? No, he just said he held it. Bill pulled the trigger.
But why? What was the alleged motive? Welch seemed to know that too.
Did they tell you anything else about it? They're supposed to get some insurance money or something. This is just what they said from Pam. Like $500 or something. And yeah,
$500, is that what Pam was paying them, or?
That's what they said she was going to pay them.
And you're talking about Pam. Who's Pam?
The guy's husband. Right?
Okay, Pam Smart.
Ralph Welch is the first one who mentions Pam Smart's name.
Did Pam pay him anything else? No, he just said something about insurance money or something. He mentioned like $500 a piece.
This videotaped interview with Ralph Welch blows the lid off the case. As police begin to dig, a clue may lie in, of all places, an amateur orange juice commercial that Pam helped some of the high school students produce.
Since the beginning of time, man has enjoyed the taste of pure and natural Florida orange juice.
In which to take this investigation.
Bill pulled the trigger. They're supposed to be getting some insurance money or something from Pam. 500.
This explosive videotaped interview gives police a clear motive and implicates Pamela Smart in her husband's murder. Yet it comes as no surprise to police, who already think that Pam has been acting bizarrely from the moment they started talking to her.
We met with her in an interview room, and she began immediately to tell us when she opened up the door. She saw that this must have been a burglary because there were speakers off the stand. It seemed kind of strange that she had keyed in on speakers missing from a stand. It seemed at the time that her focus should have been on her husband who was laying there.
Police noticed that Pam didn't seem to be very emotional when they finally got a chance to interview her just hours after her husband had been murdered. You weren't emotive enough for people's taste.
Yes.
What do you make of all that?
Well, I wasn't very emotional. I think I was in shock, you know.
You were the ice princess.
Right. And I think that people's perception is interesting because, like, I was watching something where it was JFK's funeral and Jackie Kennedy Onassis was standing there and she never shed a tear. And everyone was like, she's so stoic. You know, nobody said she was an ice princess.
There was no proof that Pamela Smart had anything to do with this, but her actions really did make a lot of people, including investigators, step back and say, wait a minute, does she have something to do with this?
My law enforcement friends told me that after I interviewed Pam Smart, that she became even more of a prominent suspect in their eyes because of what she said in that interview. And they said specifically, she talked about things that she couldn't have known about.
It just seems to have been a situation where Greg didn't know what was happening.
She knew critical factors about what that crime scene looked like. How could she talk about what this apartment looked like when she wasn't allowed in there? And I expected that she would be breaking down, and yet that emotion never came.
Sometimes I ask myself, I can't figure out where the strength is coming from.
But the weirdest part of the interview was we were talking about Greg, and she said something to the effect of, if you think about it, this couldn't have happened at a better time.
You know, there's no better time in his life for this to happen.
And I said, what? Like, this couldn't have happened at a better time because if you think about it, had we been married for 20 years, I would have loved him that much more. I couldn't wrap my mind around that.
When the murder first happened, you brought the media into your home and gave interviews.
Well, no, I talked to one person, Bill Spencer, and he was hounding every day, calling us, saying that he was running with the story that Greg owed gambling debts in Atlantic City and he owed money to the mafia. They were saying, are you going to give us a comment? Because if you're not going to give us a comment, we're running with this story. And it was like, wait a minute, my husband's not even buried. Like, what do you mean you're running with the story? Because we went to Atlantic City a lot, but he didn't owe anybody any money and he wasn't killed because of that. I was pressured basically to try to defend him. So I did.
I wouldn't say I pressured Pamela Smart into doing that interview at all. That call came to me. I didn't make the call to her that morning. She called me.
Pam has an answer for everything the police called suspicious. So, who do you believe?
The police definitely don't believe Pam Smart. There's a whole lot of smoke, but no fire yet. They have the videotaped interview from a high school kid who said she offered $500 for murder. They find her interview peculiar, but none of this adds up to murder until they make a stunning connection.
So these boys, it turns out, are students at the same school where Pam Smart works.
Not only do these kids go to Winnicott High School, where Pamela Smart works, she's close to them because she's working on a school project with them.
Now there's a connection. There's a connection between the gun, the three boys, and Pamela Smart.
Pam meets Billy Flynn through this Project Esteem that she is running at Winnicott High School, where she talks to teenagers about their troubles and tries to help them with their issues. There's a gigantic dichotomy between Derry, New Hampshire, where Pamela Smart lives, and Seabrook, where Billy Flynn and these boys lived. Seabrook is a gritty, working-class area.
And in comes Pamela Smart, and she must have seemed like a fairy princess.
So Billy Flynn is 16 years old. He's attending Winnicott High School. He plays guitar. He wants to be a rock musician. There's nothing imposing about this guy. He's a skinny, guitar-playing teenager.
I met Bill, who was kind of making me feel like I was the greatest thing on the earth.
He was charming.
He was, and I guess at that point I was so low that I needed that boost.
You were vulnerable.
Yeah, I was.
Pam learned about a contest for high school kids in which they made a commercial about orange juice. So she got the kids together and said, hey, you can win a trip to Disneyland if you want to make this commercial.
Pam already knows Billy because she's in this Project Self-Esteem with him, and she asked him to be the cameraman.
This put Pam and Billy in very close proximity. She directed it. He wrote the music for the commercial.
We still need energy, vitamin C to keep in shape and stay healthy. My friends and I start out the day the Florida Orange Juice Nutritional way.
I meet Pam Smart, and she's beautiful. She's intelligent. You know, she's an adult, and she likes me.
As the police begin to dig, they can't help but wonder about the strange hold that Pamela Smart has on these teenage boys, especially the long-haired kid, Billy Flynn.
The cops soon discover that Pamela Smart has been having an ongoing illicit affair with her teenage student, Billy Flynn.
But another student from that very same high school is about to betray Pam with a secret recording.
I'm afraid one day you're going to come in and you're going to be quiet.
Black Widow, jailed for squalid murder. It seems like the whole world's passing by and, I'm still here.
They have a 22-year-old woman who's having an affair with a 16-year-old boy, and that boy is tied to the murder weapon.
This young boy, who was having an affair with her, believes that she has told him that the only way we can be together is if you kill my husband.
Pamela Smart planned the entire murder. She's the mastermind.
Pam, did you have anything to do with your husband's murder?
She had used her sexual powers to influence Bill Flynn.
Pam Smart is sitting over at that defense table. She is the orchestrator. This was just a pawn.
I never would have done it if Pam didn't tell me to.
People act like I just used him, went lurking through the school looking for somebody to manipulate, and it really wasn't even like that. A lot of people felt like they knew everything about me because they saw the movie.
Did you get the gun?
The good news is we've got the person that murdered your husband. The bad news is it's you. You're under arrest. It makes the headlines when 3 teens are arrested in the murder of Greg Smart. Billy Flynn, Vance Latimer, and Pete Randall.
The police have now identified the murder weapon, and they trace it back to those 3 boys. This is what enabled them basically to get these arrest warrants.
There is a 4th suspect. Raymond Fowler was in the getaway car. Fowler ended up being charged, but other than being in the wrong place at the wrong time, he seemingly did not have much to do with the murder itself.
Remember, police had been told that these boys were mere pawns and that Pam Smart had put them all up to it. But what was the motive? Why would they kill Smart?
I'm going to go straight to Pam's condominium and get her reaction.
I'm totally devastated by this. I can't comment.
I was boggled by her reaction. Wait a minute. They've solved your husband's murder and you're distraught?
I thought, oh my God, they had the wrong person.
You thought Billy was innocent?
I thought there was no way.
These 3 teenagers are in custody, but they are not talking to the police.
Normally, you get 3 teens that are arrested for something this serious. One or all of them are going to sing. They're going to tell exactly what happened because they're teenagers.
And then, out of the blue, a break in the case. Police actually get an anonymous phone call.
This is Detective Phillip here.
There was a young man killed a couple weeks ago in his house.
planned it, and there was someone that knows all about this, and her name is Cecilia Pierce.
Cecilia Pierce is a teenager who goes to Winnicott High School. She is the intern of Pamela Smart.
They had worked together on that OJ video.
Energy and vitamin C to keep in shape and stay healthy.
Police interviewed Cecilia, and that recording appeared in a documentary for Discovery ID called Pamela Smart, An American Murder Mystery.
What kind of a relationship do you have with Pam?
Close. She's kind of like a big sister.
The revelations she makes are stunning.
They were friends, and they were having an affair.
How did you find out about the affair?
Pam told me that she was in love with Bill. And I didn't say anything with the sex because I worked it out.
Bill Flynn was a juvenile, just 16 years old. Cecilia tells police that one night she, Billy Flynn, and Pam Smart are watching a movie 9.5 weeks. During the movie, Pam Smart and Billy Flynn go upstairs. Cecilia follows and actually walks in on the two having sex.
This is a bombshell. Imagine what the police are thinking at this point. They have a 22-year-old woman who's having an affair with a 16-year-old boy, and that boy is tied to the murder weapon that was used to kill the woman's husband. These are big pieces of a puzzle they're putting together here.
You were technically an adult, and he was underage.
Absolutely.
That relationship seems predatory.
It was totally wrong. It was actually very difficult because I had feelings for my husband. I loved him, and I also had developed feelings for Bill. And I knew that I couldn't continue like this. It wasn't, going to work like this forever. It was only a short relationship.
You've had several bombshells in this case, but another one is about to explode. Cecilia reveals that she has heard the whole story, the conversations between Billy Flynn and Pam, and that she has heard that Pam wanted to get rid of Greg.
According to Cecilia Pierce, Pamela Smart planned the entire murder. She's the mastermind.
We're going to conduct an audio surveillance of one Pamela Smart using a confidential informant.
They decide to ask Cecilia to get wired up, wear a taping device under her clothes.
And she goes to visit Pam at her office.
The trap is set. Will Pam fall in? Cecilia tells Pam that the cops have called her in for questioning about the murder.
Pretty much, they established that, yeah, you had Greg killed. Why, though? And, because they can't think of any other reason why Bill and him would do it. Yeah, but even if I asked him to kill somebody, you have to be ready to say, okay, I will. You know what I mean? Whether someone asks you to or not. As far as I can see it, Bill did it because he loved you.
She doesn't break into tears. She doesn't deny it. Nothing. That's very telling.
Let me tell you how out of whack I was, okay? The day before this, I had a lawyer, and he calls me up and he says, whatever you do, don't talk to her, because she's coming in and she's going to be wired.
That's an astonishing admission. She says her lawyer warned her. Cecilia's dangerous. She could be wearing a wire if you talk to her, and yet she still does.
I'm afraid one day you're going to come in here and you're going to be wired. There was no signal that has ever come down to your wire that you're going to give me.
Why would you need that if, in fact, you did have nothing to do with it and you weren't part of all of this?
Now remember, Cecilia acknowledges that she knew in advance about the murder. And that's when Pam issues what seems like an ominous warning.
I'm sick of lying, you know. I just told you, if you tell the truth, how are you going to censor your murder, right? Yeah, you know you're together with Pam. And I'm just going to put you on her act and say, do you know? Say no. Did Pam do this? No. If you tell the truth, you're probably going to be arrested.
Pam is really concerned about Cecilia now, so she's telling Cecilia to basically lie.
and it's good if you're not arrested. You're going to have to go, you're going to have to find Bill, you're going to have to send me, you're going to have to send JR, you're going to have to send me to the flavor for the rest of our entire life. And unfortunately, that's the situation you're in.
Sounds like you're admitting
It
to
does.
something.
My great brilliant idea that I had was that I was going to go in and have these conversations with her to make her feel like she's more comfortable so she could tell me whatever she was going to tell me. All I wanted to know was, did this guy really kill my husband? Because I like more than anything, I wanted this not to be true because I felt responsible.
Ultimately, the wire that Cecilia Pierce wore became the reason the police were able to go and arrest Pamela Smart.
The good news is we've got the person that murdered your husband. The bad news is it's you. You're under arrest.
Date is August 1st, 1990. Time is 10 a.m. Seabrook, New Hampshire. We're about to do a one-party consent via telephone between Cecilia Pierce and Pamela Smart.
Police are now ready to arrest Pam Smart. But first, they have Cecilia call her at her office one last time. On that call, Pam does confess to feeling guilty about something. She says she's feeling real remorse, but it doesn't have anything to do with her husband.
You should have seen me when I hit a rabbit. I couldn't avoid it. It came totally bouncing out of the road. I felt like... Oh, killing a rabbit? Yeah. Well, it's roadkill. I think that you felt bad about running over a rabbit, but not the break. Well, I did feel bad about that. But I feel bad about the rabbit, too.
That afternoon, the police arrive at Pam's office, and she has a lot more to answer for than running over a rabbit.
Exactly 3 months from the day that her husband was murdered, on August 1st, 1990, the police finally arrest Pamela Smart.
Pam, did you have anything to do with your husband's murder?
I was really not worried about it because I knew that I hadn't done anything wrong. I'm thinking this is going to get straightened out.
She was charged with accomplice to first-degree murder.
But at this point, the case against Pam is entirely circumstantial. The boys are in custody, but they are refusing to speak.
They have convinced themselves that they will go free once they turn 18 if they just keep their mouths shut.
They suddenly learn the prosecutors are telling them that it doesn't matter that you're teenagers, we are going to try you as adults.
They were looking at a lifetime in the penitentiary. Suddenly, they got very chatty.
They changed and they became her accuser, and she became the person who planned it all. And then they were able to make a deal with the prosecution for lighter sentences.
Sometimes, to put the devil in jail, you got to go to hell to get your witnesses.
My name is Paul Mangiano. I'm Assistant Attorney General. We're built up with that. She, that him and Pam would get a divorce, and Pam would get nothing, and that he care, treat her, lousy. Just there was no way that Pam could probably live a relationship with Greg or I.
You know, my recollection of Vance Ladamy wasn't the sharpest knife in the drawer. You know, you had to sit there and wonder, oh, how did you let yourself get involved in this? But he was extremely loyal to Bill.
Did you ever go against my office with them? Yeah, I went in and raised your issues on the telephone. We put the phone on the speakerphone so everybody could hear. She was in a fight with Husband Greg, and they were speeding back and forth, and then they hung on. Because she says to Beth Lacey, I have to have it done.
You listen to those interrogations and you're struck by how they say Pam was just determined to get this done.
How often did you talk to Pam about me?
Once every day.
She gave them.
she started yelling at me. She's saying, well, if you're never going to do this, I want to know right now. So we can end this right now because I don't want to go hurt like this.
Billy Flynn comes across as a kid trying to act like a man because he's in a man's relationship with Pam Smart. And I think he wants to stand up and prove to her that he's that guy.
But finally, police get down to the deed itself in the interrogation room.
What did you expect when you did this? I stole $500. If you don't tell me where the $500 they said it was coming from Douglas. Do you know how much insurance money is supposed to be carried? $140,000.
So, a lot was made of this $140,000 insurance policy, that this was about sex and greed.
Right, which makes no sense whatsoever because I had a very good job. I made a lot of money for myself at that age that I was. I mean, I guess everybody needs money, but I really made my own money.
The teens lay it all out. They say Pam told them to ransack the house and make it look like a robbery.
Okay, now, was there any conversation about that? Yes, yeah, we have that. And Bill said yes.
The teens' interrogation tapes were textbook, classic. They revealed every detail.
So did they concoct this, as teenagers frequently do, to protect each other? Yeah, it wasn't us, it was Pam. Or did Pam really help them? Was she the mastermind of this whole conspiracy to murder plot?
So now, since the boys have turned, they have enough to take it to trial.
The trial was a sensation.
The local station WMUR starts to preempt soap operas to cover this trial because what they have is a soap opera taking place in a courtroom.
Spectators have been arriving shortly after midnight just to get a seat.
What can you do in your right hand?
I had a nightmare.
What happened next?
I was supposed to cut his throat. You know, that means we've got the hair bands beginning to give way to grunge out of Seattle. Bands like Nirvana.
Shows like Cheers were popular.
It's a dog-eat-dog world, Sammy, and I'm wearing milk-bone underwear.
In New Hampshire, the local station WMUR starts to preempt soap operas to cover this trial.
I dreamt I spent the entire evening with my sexy, gorgeous husband.
Because what they have is a soap opera taking place in a courtroom. The case had all of those elements, sex and betrayal and murder.
The trial was a sensation in part because it was at the dawn of cameras being in the courtroom. And so people could tune into their local station in New Hampshire, watch wall-to-wall coverage.
It ushered in a whole new era, a whole new genre for TV, court trials.
And before you know it, it becomes kind of nationwide news.
The media coverage was intense.
In New Hampshire, Pamela Smart is on trial in what seems like the plot to a very bad movie.
It was a tsunami of attention. Most of it was negative.
Many people, very likely, had already formed an opinion of Pam Smart before the trial ever started.
We did not have a jury that was sequestered, so naturally we were concerned that they were going to be affected.
Ladies and gentlemen, it was that woman who initiated, orchestrated, and directed William Flynn to kill her husband.
According to the state, Billy Flynn committed murder because Pam Smart put him up to it, luring him with money and sex. But according to the defense, Billy Flynn committed murder out of a jealous rage.
What will be coming before you from prosecution witnesses will probably be one of the most vile concoctions ever assembled in one courtroom in the state of New Hampshire.
The main takeaway that we wanted the jury to get is that the state of New Hampshire made a deal with the devil.
The prosecutor made a plea deal agreement with Pete Randall and Billy Flynn, the two who had actually committed the murder.
J.R. Latomy, who was the getaway driver, also cut a deal.
By pleading guilty and agreeing to testify, they had a chance at getting out of jail someday, and they took it.
Nice clear voice, would you please state your name so that everyone in the jury box can hear it?
Patrick Allen Randall.
Randall came across as a little more matter of fact. Some people describe it as cold.
I'd like to call your attention to May 1st, 1990. Can you tell me what you did after school?
I went to Haverhill to pick up Jazz grandmother's car in order to go to Derry to kill Gregory Smart.
The goal is to show that Pamela Smart, with evidence beyond a reasonable doubt, masterminded this murder.
Can you tell us what you said to the defendant and what she said to you?
She told me they should leave the back doors unlocked, not to hurt a dog, and that we could ransack the apartment, the condo, take what we wanted, and wait for Greg to come home, and when Greg came home, we would kill him.
What else was said at that time?
I felt that stabbing Greg would be a lot easier than shooting him, and told me that if I was to stab him, he'd probably get blood everywhere, and not to get blood on the sofa.
It was downright strange to listen to him describe so matter-of-factly, so unemotionally, him participating in the killing of Greg Smart.
When Greg came into the door, he opened up the door and called to his dog. And Bill grabbed him and pulled him in the house, and he was screaming and trying to run out. He switched and started asking about his dog. And just told him his dog was okay, don't worry your dog, don't hurt your dog.
Randall says he then holds a knife to Greg's throat and orders him to hand over the wedding ring he's wearing.
Told me he couldn't give it to me.
Why?
He said his wife would kill him.
He just looked sinister. You know how a shark, his eyes don't look like they're living. It looks like he's dead.
What happened next?
I was supposed to cut his throat.
Did you at that time?
No, I did not.
Why not?
I couldn't do it.
Why couldn't you do it?
Because of some of the things he said, and because I couldn't do it.
What happened after that?
They took the gun out and shot him.
He certainly came across as someone who didn't seem as bothered as you might think he would be for having been involved in this crime.
What was your motivation for taking part in this murder?
Bill was my friend, and I didn't want to see him get caught for committing murder. And there were financial gains.
Your peers have a huge influence on what you do and don't do. But Billy was probably admired. The power of teen friendships is very strong. You get a bunch of misguided kids who feel like they've shown up for one another, that they're helping one another. They may not truly understand that committing homicide crosses a line that should never be crossed.
State calls Vance Latimer.
Latimer was a bit different in that he wasn't there for the actual murder. He was in the car outside.
They would ask how should she react. She just told the crime's Greg dead. She'd ask, whether she should scream, run house to house, or just run and call the police, how she should react.
You get a sense of just how amateurish these teens were. Latimer made fun of Randall and Flynn for buying latex gloves that were too thin to even hide their fingerprints.
And why was that funny?
Because I figured all this planning he was supposedly doing for this murder that he wanted so bad, he had a better set of gloves than them. He said the stuff in the store, but Scotch tape around each of their fingers, and then put the gloves on and their tape. Prevent fingerprints.
In every big trial, there's that one aha moment. The moment everybody remembers with Simpson, it was the glove. In this case, it was Pam Smart in a white strapless bikini posing suggestively on a bed.
While Pamela Smart was the big draw today, the case against her was built on the testimony of several teenagers.
Could you please state your name?
16. Groupies at the Pamela Smart trial camp out for hours.
If this story were a made-for-TV movie, and it surely will be, you might not believe it.
Nobody really understands that these guys were not angels.
Bear in mind, Billy Flynn's sidekick, Pete Randall, was involved in several thefts, and Billy himself admitted to burglary.
When Billy Flynn took the stand, he seemed to be every bit the innocent virgin that the prosecution painted him in the opening statements.
He tells the first time he was ever visited.
She was lying his name. I said, yeah. She said, well, do I have to name Raven? I said, yeah.
Basically, if you believed Billy Flynn, you didn't need anything else.
Now, you go take us back to her driving you home that night. What happened?
She started crying. Looked at me and said, saying that the only way they wouldn't be able to be together is if I killed Ray.
Bill Flynn is supposed to be so innocent that he was manipulated by me, right? But at the same time, he was smart enough to manipulate his friends to go kill a person they've never even met.
She said, anybody can help if you have anything in the house that she's insured. You should turn the service system, protein species, insured.
And where did the defendant say she'd be?
And me. I said she'd have an alibi.
I wanted to get up and say, stop lying.
You think he lied to get a lesser sentence?
Absolutely. Yeah, I know he lied.
You know, in every big trial, there's that one aha moment. The moment everybody remembers. With Simpson, it was the glove. In this case, it was Pam Smart in a white strapless bikini posing suggestively on a bed.
Well, as if this super sensational trial isn't crazy enough already. My God.
They were made between her and a friend, a girlfriend, for a modeling contest. They took photos of each other. Those photographs made it into court, and the prosecution claimed that she had deliberately taken those to be seductive, to get Billy Flynn to do her bidding, to kill her husband.
She said she didn't want him, she's just gonna throw him out. If I wanted him, I'd get him.
When those photographs come in, you can see it kind of was overwhelming for a teenage boy. This was a lot of sex for a 16-year-old to have. You can get that sense that it had a lot of influence on him, a lot of power over him, enough to make him kill.
The prosecution said, see, here's more examples of Pam using her wiles to keep this boy besotted by her. Not at all.
Pam's side of the story is that she denies ever letting Flynn see those photos.
Of all the people that took the witness stand, I think people were more moved by Billy Flynn than anyone else.
I heard Greg walking up towards the door.
How was it that he overpowered
Well, he wasn't struggling very much. He was just asking what was going on.
What'd you tell him?
I just told him to shut up. I took the gun out of my pocket. I cocked the hammer back, I pointed the gun at his head.
After you pointed the gun at his head, what'd you do?
I just stood there.
How long was it?
100 years, it seemed like. I said, God forgive me.
He said, God forgive me. What happened?
I pulled the trigger.
He started crying, and I'm looking at the jury, and I'm seeing that it looks like they feel sorry for him. I wanted to scream.
I mean, he killed somebody, a defenseless man on his knees, execution style, yet he became sympathetic on that stand because he was so young, so emotional, and Pam Smart is sitting over at that defense table. She is the orchestrator. This was just a pawn.
Okay, so you're saying that Pam made you kill Greg?
I performed the act, Yes, but I never would have done it if Pam didn't tell me to.
You were just like a machine or something like that?
She was the first girl I ever loved.
Now it's the defense's turn to make their case, and in a bold move, they put Pamela Smart herself on the stand.
The courtroom was hushed. She was again dressed in her prim copper little outfit with her hair done perfectly with a big bow.
She was insistent upon taking the stand
Pamela Ann Smart.
to make sure the jury know that she did not kill her husband.
Why did you not agree to it?
Because I loved him. I wanted to spend the rest of my life with him.
Did you have any problems?
Greg didn't come home one night. He told me that he had been with someone else.
How did you react?
Mad.
Because she had no expression, was immediately convicted as an ice princess and a cold-blooded killer. Maybe if Pam had cried, things would be different. The defense argument was that Pamela Smart fully admitted she'd had an affair with a teenage boy.
Well, I didn't set out to have an affair with him, but I did.
Pamela Smart had broken the affair off and he got mad, and that was his retribution, to kill her husband in cold blood.
I told him that I didn't want to have a relationship with him anymore, and he started crying and he said that he couldn't live without me.
It's a huge risk in any trial for the defendant to take the witness stand, because you're then subject to cross-examination by people who do it for a living.
You said, when you heard Bill Flynn was arrested, you said, oh my God, they heard about the affair, they arrested the wrong person. Of course, you went right to the police to straighten that out, didn't you?
No, because I thought if the police knew that I had an affair with Bill, then they would automatically conclude that I was involved in the murder. And also, the police never asked me.
Oh, they didn't ask you. Oh.
I believe it was a huge mistake to put Pam Smart on the stand. She was destroyed. She was torpedoed on cross-examination.
You made a lot of mistakes so far in this case.
I sure have. Yes, I have.
Was killing your husband one of those mistakes?
No, it wasn't.
Got you a divorce? Maybe that was one of the mistakes? You should have gotten divorced, but you didn't?
No, I didn't want to get divorced.
Defendant, please rise and face the jury.
I felt like the jury was either going to be hung or they were going to find me guilty. I thought there was no chance at that point that the jury was going to say I was innocent.
Juror number one, is the defendant guilty or not guilty?
The verdict that's about to be handed down would be swift, the punishment severe. And yet 3 years later, it was still must-see TV when Diane Sawyer landed the only interview with the triggerman himself, Billy Flynn.
Bill Flynn, we asked him if there were one question he could ask you.
I think I know what it's going to be.
Wait, what do you think it's going to be?
Please stand. Has the jury reached a verdict on each of the three offenses charged?
Yes, we have.
The adrenaline starts running through your body and your heart's pumping.
After 13 hours of deliberation, it all came down to this.
That's not that long. Usually quick verdicts mean jury's gonna quit.
How to say it? Was the defendant guilty or not guilty of the offense charged?
Guilty.
Greg Smart's family let out a howl. On Pam's side of the courtroom, her parents just sat in deathly silence, crushed.
She went from finding out whether she was guilty or innocent to being sentenced within a matter of minutes.
I am required and do hereby sentence you to the New Hampshire State Prison for Women for the remainder of your life without the possibility of parole. Mrs. Smart, you're in the custody of the sheriff. This hearing is adjourned.
Our feelings were overjoyed. I just don't know how to explain it. I wanted to scream and holler and jump and everything.
The entire Smart family went to Greg's grave, and they knelt by the grave, and they formed a circle, and they told him it was finally over, that Pam had been convicted, and she was going to go to prison.
I remember Diane Sawyer interviewed Pamela Smart, and I was riveted. Tonight, Pamela Smart, her first interview since the arrest.
even 4 years after the murder, the country was still transfixed.
I didn't really consider Bill to be a kid. I guess age-wise, he was. But at the time, I just felt that he was more mature.
She also got the only interview ever with Billy Flynn.
I was still in love with Pam. That trial was one of the hardest things I've ever done in my life, ever.
I guess it's hard for a lot of people to think that you could do something like that for love.
That was the whole world to me back then. I fell in love with her. Then she was really all I had, you know.
If you're in the hands of somebody who's older, they're going to have power to manipulate and to guide, and you can't always trust that. They're just not old enough to make that decision. The frontal cortex is not fully developed yet, so their ability to really think through consequences for their choices is not in place.
Perhaps the most memorable moment in the Diane Sawyer special is when she tells Pam Smart about a revealing question she asked Billy Flynn.
We asked him if there were one question he could ask you, what it would be. And here's what he said.
I think I know what it's going to be.
Wait, what do you think it's going to be?
Did you really love me?
If you could ask her one question, what would it be?
Whether or not she really ever loved me. In hindsight, that might not seem like a very big deal to most people, but knowing that she had me do this, and that I did go through with it, and that she never really loved me, would probably kill me.
Yes, I did. I think I did really love him.
If I were to ask you that question again now, is there a more nuanced answer? Did you love him?
I feel like I loved him. I cared for him. I had feelings. People act like I just used him, and went lurking through the school looking for somebody to manipulate, and it really wasn't even like that.
For this broadcast, her mother, Linda Wojcik, traveled to New York as part of her never-ending quest to win her daughter's freedom. You've been a tireless advocate.
You would be too, I would hope.
Do you think your daughter had a fair trial?
No.
Why?
The 3 things you're supposed to do from the U.S. Supreme Court when you have publicity attendant to her, like as in her trial, 1,200 newspaper articles screaming her guilt, that you put in safeguards, stay the trial while the publicity abates, you change the venue, and you sequester the jury. Judge Gray refused motion after motion to do any of that.
I don't think it was necessary. I don't know about everybody else, but I got the sense that 12 good people told not to watch TV can pull that feat off without much difficulty.
The reality is, however, that no matter where you try Pam Smart, a jury will likely convict her based on the evidence. She tried the appeals process. She exhausted every appeal.
Remember Pamela Smart? Today, the U.S. Supreme Court turned down her final appeal.
What happened with Pam is that people see her as having committed a sin more than a crime. Her sin was the affair with a young boy.
Pam's advocates and a growing chorus of feminists believe that Pam Smart got a raw deal because she's a woman.
It's an old sin. And it's the same one, that goes back to Adam and Eve, where Adam plea bargains with God and gets a reduced sentence, and Eve gets the book thrown at her.
Pamela Smart has now been in jail for nearly 3 decades, but the boys finished serving their time.
It sort of made me sick knowing that these kids were going to get out of jail long before Pam Smart ever would. In my mind, they were more guilty than she was. I mean, these are some bad people.
Even if you believe she's guilty, which I don't, the actual killers who said, yes, we murdered him, are walking around and having their lives. And she deserves better.
Pam Smart has had to watch time and time again as other women who actually pulled the trigger that killed their victims walk out of prison after serving less time than she has. Carolyn Warmus, the infamous Fatal Attraction murderess, shot her victim 9 times and yet got out after 27 years. Margaret Rudin, a woman who was convicted of shooting her husband, walked out of jail today after serving 20 years.
Pam said to me, you know, Mom, El Chapo has the same sentence I do.
It's one thing for Pam's mom to rail against the sentence, but you might be surprised what the prosecutor who put her in prison thinks now.
I'm not making a personal statement about Pam. What I'm saying is I don't know if it's fair for anybody who's been sentenced to life without parole to be in jail for the rest of their life. I don't know if that's fair, okay?
There's a petition online.
Clearly, you're never going to give up.
No, I won't. I just hope God lets me live long enough to see her free.
So it turns out there is one thing Pam Smart could do today that could give her that chance to get out of jail.
Pamela Smart is sent to prison and winds up in Bedford Hills. Guess what movie they play for the inmates one night?
Did you get the gun?
Not yet. To Die For. And this fictionalized version of her life would now be taken as gospel.
I just want to know when.
It's just, I don't know. Whenever, Jesus.
Oh. Look, if you don't know, I guess I have to find somebody who does.
She felt that she got a lot of attention and a lot of abuse in prison as a result of that movie and people thinking they knew who she was.
She was attacked by 2 inmates who thought she was a snitch. And they beat her and really harmed her permanently. They fractured a orbital lobe in her eye. She's got a plate on the side of her face. It's been much easier for her in later years.
She has been a model prisoner in every way. She's tutored other prisoners. She's been part of the ministry behind bars.
She's gotten 2 master's degrees.
Pamela Smart made a last-ditch, a Hail Mary attempt.
We submitted a petition for sentence commutation.
Dear Governor Sununu, without executive intervention, I will die in prison.
It was peppered with testimonials from all kinds of people of substance, people from all walks of life.
Her time is spent in helping other inmates, educating and inspiring them.
I was struck by the letters of support, and then I got to the memo that she personally wrote.
Although I never wanted nor asked Mr. Flynn to murder Greg.
She had claimed she had no involvement with his death. How do I trust someone who hasn't even come to terms with her own responsibility for the death of her husband?
The vote was 4 against giving her any kind of sentence relief.
There are some who say, well, if you just admit to your wrongdoing and apologize, that might bring you some leniency.
There's been a dilemma for anybody who's in prison that says that they're not guilty of whatever crime they're accused of.
I even asked her to do that.
You did?
Yeah.
Why?
The nerve, so she could come home. So she could come home.
When I first got arrested, I thought it was everybody's fault but my own that I was here. It's been, almost 3 decades and it hurts. I know that ultimately, even though I didn't ask Bill Flynn to kill my husband or want him to, that if I never would have had the relationship that I had with him, that my husband would still be alive. So I take responsibility for his death.
What does redemption mean to you?
It means that we don't define people by the very worst thing they've ever done in life. It means that people change, people grow, and they evolve over time.
The victims get lost sometimes in these stories of sensational defendants. This isn't the Greg Smart case. Maybe it should be. Maybe that's the way we should be remembering it.
An
excellent point. So in the Greg Smart case, Pamela Smart will be eligible to apply again to have her sentence commuted next year.
And the outcome, many legal experts say that will depend on whether she accepts any responsibility. That is 2020 for tonight. I'm David Muir.
And I'm Amy Robach, and you might have noticed we can finally say it's 2020
in 2020.
Good night.
Good night. Muir.
And I'm Amy Robach.
And this is 2020.
This is Captain Tom Hawks and Well Deserved.
I'm so glad you could join us on our last voyage on Well Deserved.
This is not right. Something's going on here.
Next thing you know is no one can get a hold of them.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Tom and Jackie Hawks were nowhere to be found. They tell friends and family, hey, we think we've sold our boat. We met this rich kid and he really wants it.
Who's this guy?
Skylar De Leon was a childhood actor.
And he was in the Power Rangers.
So Skylar said I had a briefcase full of cash. I handed it to Tom and he was thrilled.
Skylar De Leon told police, I don't know what happened to the Hawks. All they said was they were driving off to Mexico.
Jeez, okay, well, this doesn't sound good right now. It became more and more sinister in the fact that nobody had heard from them.
We're hoping, we're thinking, we're going to find them.
People are missing.
I think people are dead.
A Hollywood screenwriter can't come up with this.
I mean, there's really no other word to describe it. It's evil. Newport Beach is the dream that a lot of people think of when they think of California.
Everybody surfs every day, everybody goes on boats every day, and it's Southern California on steroids is really what it is.
It's in between Los Angeles and San Diego, along this gorgeous coastline. A lot of people with money live in Newport Beach, so a lot of people with gorgeous boats, including some pretty nice yachts, will pull up at the port there.
It's one of the few places in the United States that you can buy a multi-million-dollar home and have a dock ready to accommodate a 50, 60, 100-foot yacht.
Oh yeah, I'm here. Yeah, I'm the captain of this boat, doing an outstanding job.
Tom Hawks was just one of these all-round good guys. He grew up in California.
He grew up on a farm with a brother, Jim Hawks. They like to go surfing, they like to go sailing.
He was in the military. He saw some fighting in Vietnam.
He became a probation officer. His brother became a police officer and then later a police chief. So he came from a law enforcement family.
Eventually, Tom got married and had 2 boys, Ryan and Matthew Hawks, and he ends up raising them after he ended up getting a divorce.
I met Tom's son Ryan in Newport Beach when we first started doing this story in 2009.
How close were you guys growing up even? Very close. My parents divorced when I was probably like 5. He pretty much raised me all the way to adulthood and made me who I am today.
Jackie, hello.
Hi, honey. I'm so glad to be home.
She's home.
Jackie was a very down-to-earth, really sweet woman.
When he met Jackie, he called me and said, hey, I finally met somebody. And if you guys hit it off, I know I finally found the right one. And Jackie and I hit it off. And we did everything together.
They had a lot of friends. 150 people at their wedding. The boys called her mom, even though their mother was still alive.
The more you learned about Tom and Jackie, the more you liked them. They were rich in love, not so much in the pocketbook. They saved their money, they were frugal, they worked hard.
Even though he never made a lot of money in his lifetime, he was a saver. And he did invest in a couple of small properties and made a little money on that. But really, at the end of the day, he found himself in his 50s able to retire if he wanted to. And Jackie was all for it.
He had a dream. He wanted to buy a boat and live on the boat.
He buys the boat. It was about $300,000. Well deserved. Everybody agreed. That's the perfect name, because she was.
And we just came across these beautiful dolphins. Aren't they beautiful? I love how they play with the boat.
The Well-Deserved is a 55-foot trawler. It's kind of a smaller yacht, but you can live on it.
Tom had outfitted this vessel with everything. Inside was beautiful teak. It was immaculate.
They put in a lot of up-to-date equipment, the GPS system, and all kinds of other stuff that really made it nice.
This is our GPS. This is where our boat is, approximately our ETA, etc.
Their boat was moored in Newport Harbor right off 15th Street, and they would use their small boat to travel back and forth from the dock to the Well-Deserved.
This is the first day of our new cruising season. Jackie's kind of at the helm, and there's Isla San Pedro.
They spent their time going from Newport Beach up through the California coastline into Mexico.
We just arrived on Isla Coronado. Tom's setting anchor. And we're going to get ready and explore.
Tom was a crazy fitness guy.
He's like an ox. His muscles straining.
How to stay in shape at sea was one of his obsessions. He had weights that he would lift. He'd do pull-ups off the side of the boat.
Here's Tom doing his workout. He's looking good.
They had a wonderful love affair. They worked together as a team like no other. They were true first mates and captain.
Another picture of the sun, getting a little bigger. This is what cruising is all about.
So this was their life for 2 years, until some pretty dramatic news came their way. Matt, their youngest son, was about to have a baby.
Oh, there he is. What a doggy.
It was going to be their first grandchild. And this was a big deal for Tom, but it was probably an even bigger deal for Jackie.
Jackie was involved in a motorcycle accident when she was 22 years old and had some internal damage and tragically was unable to have children of her own. When her stepson, Matt, had that baby, she really wanted to play the role of devoted grandmother.
Oh, he's so beautiful.
They were planning on selling this yacht, taking the proceeds from it, and moving close to this grandbaby.
Hi, Dave. You want to say hi to Grandpa? You're getting so big.
I think it just hit home with them how important family was.
There's Grandpa, holding his old grandboy.
How are you? You're not getting poop on me, are you?
The Hawks decided to downsize. They were going to go from that huge boat to a small boat, dock it in Mexico, get a little house there, and still be close enough to go see the grandson who lived in Arizona.
So they were willing to sell the Well-Deserved, and being very frugal, they wanted to bypass the broker and just sell the boat on their own. So they took out an ad in a boating magazine.
They went on one last trip to Catalina Island. Jim Hawks, Tom's brother, brought his boat, and they all had this little party.
Okay, here we are on Catalina Island. This is our last trip to the island because we sold the boat. And we're all having a really good time.
So after this last Catalina cruise, Tom and Jackie had told Jim Hawks and other people that the sale was going to take place in the next few days.
So we'll see what happens. Hopefully we'll be all right. But you don't know what's going to happen.
Next thing you know is no one can get a hold of them. For them just to shut off their cell phones and drop off the face of the earth is extremely out of character.
And when Ryan and his brother Matt tried calling them and they weren't answering, they knew something was really up.
Ryan's in Arizona. So Ryan puts in a call to his uncle, Jim Hawks, who lives in San Diego. He used to be the chief of police for Carlsbad Police Department. Jim Hawks jumps in his car and gets down there.
Don Triffin and Jim Hawks are looking for Jackie and Tom. So they go to Newport Beach. There, they find the Well-Deserved, but no couple.
We were there, we looked for their car. We, walked around a couple of blocks. It's kind of where they would park. Couldn't find their car.
Well-Deserved is there, but Tom's not around, Jackie's not around. It's pretty quickly evident to everybody that something is amiss.
And we went over to the dinghy dock, and this Well-Deserved dinghy was there. It wasn't properly tied, and
I just told Jim, I go, this is not right. Something's going on here.
My uncle knew something was wrong right away. Your dad didn't tie the dinghy, your dad didn't lift the motor down.
We met with Carter Ford, and we went out to the boat.
From a distance, you probably wouldn't notice too much. But as you get closer, the first thing you notice is that the boat was tied, the lines were hanging kind of over the side of the boat.
As we came up on the boat, I noticed that the tarps were all off, all the controls were just kind of peeled back, and there was a towel hanging out one of the portholes, and I got a sick feeling in my stomach, just like something wasn't right.
By November 16th, 2004, it's obvious something's wrong. Tom and Jackie Hawks were nowhere to be found.
The other part to this was the well-deserved, the yacht, was back in its right spot in Newport Beach Harbor. Their Honda CRV was nowhere to be found, and they were nowhere to be found either. Something was really up.
And there's the kid.
What's that? They were a very close-knit family. So if they couldn't be reached over a certain period of time, all kinds of alarm bells went off.
Family and friends are already desperate. They start tracing and backtracking their steps to see what might have happened to them.
I knew they thought they might be selling the boat. That's what they were hoping to do.
They believed that they had found a buyer to the boat, that they'd essentially gotten the price that they wanted.
They were excited. They thought we got a buyer. We've got someone. We're going to sell this boat.
Jackie told me that this person was going to be coming back to take a test drive on the boat the next day.
Before you sell a vessel, they take a sea trial. They take the vessel out. It's like a test run in a car.
The only thing we know about this trip is that it indeed happened. And that's because Jackie calls and leaves a message with a dear friend.
They bid me goodbye on the phone Monday morning. The next thing I heard was a voicemail from Jackie, said that we're still at sea. I'll be in touch with you again.
Rockin' and rollin'. Well deserved.
She had left a voicemail. It basically said that Tom and Jackie were out at sea with the purchaser and that she'd get back to him.
So as far as friends and family knew, on November 15th, 2004, they were meeting some prospective buyers, and they were going to sell out a bit towards Catalina Island. The sale would likely happen, and Jackie and Tom would be home, with any luck, before Thanksgiving.
Before they disappeared, Tom had mentioned to family members that this guy who was a child actor was going to be the buyer.
For me, it was a worrisome mystery. I wanted more information. I wanted to know who was his would-be buyer.
Jim Hawks wants to talk to whoever brought in the well-deserved. So he takes out a card and he writes on the back of it, "I am a retired police officer and I'd like to speak to whoever bought the boat. Tom and Jackie Hawks are missing. I need to chat with you." Leaves his phone number.
And the person that contacted him was Jennifer DeLeon.
Jim's like, "Look, did you buy the boat?" "Yep, we sure did." And she is super duper sweet.
Jennifer has an explanation. She tells Jim that she and her husband, Skylar, bought the boat in cash, in full.
Jennifer says we don't know where the Hawks are, and we still wanted to find out where they are because we still need some information about how to use this boat that we now have. We bought the boat, they drove away. We haven't heard from them, and we don't know where they are either.
She says, "I think that they were going to go off to Mexico.
Locals playing soccer. Oh, and there's a gringo."
And that's pretty much it. She's pretty short on that phone call.
Not surprisingly, Jim thought this might be a little suspicious, so he called Arizona to one of their friends.
Patricia Schutz, who they put in charge of essentially paying their bills and taking care of their finances while they were down in Mexico. Because during this time, way harder to deal with that from a foreign country, especially on a boat, which may or may not have internet access.
Tom and Jackie, if they would have sold that boat, they would have deposited that money into their bank account. But there was no activity on their account. So we knew that something was really wrong. Jim Hawks, he told me that he was going to contact the police department and file a missing persons report Friday morning.
Most missing persons investigations, the person's found in a very short amount of time.
Yes, Jackie worked in the email.
It's either lack of communication or perhaps they went somewhere else that they weren't expected to. Jim Hawks, Tom Hawks' brother, he had already done his homework on his own. Once our investigators started talking with him, we knew we needed to really start looking hard.
This case lands on Dave Byington's desk. And at this point, he'd been a cop a long time, and he's a cop's cop. The minute he sees Jim Hawks and reads the details of this case, he knew this family had reason to worry.
This couple, Tom and Jackie Hawks, had lived on their yacht in Newport, were in the process of selling or sold the vessel to this other couple, Skylar and Jennifer De Leon.
So Newport police start digging, looking at Skylar and Jennifer. And you know what? They find stuff. Troubling stuff.
Skylar happens to be a convicted felon. He's on probation. I go, geez. So my first indication, okay, well, this doesn't sound good right now.
Sergeant Dave Byington, he sends out a detective to go out to the boat. And so the guy gets to the boat and he's looking around and he sees this receipt on the floor.
That receipt on the boat, it's from Target and it has a bizarre shopping list on it.
The minute Detective Byington sees that receipt, he knows something's off.
That's a nice one. Good job. Oh, it just got him. That's what he stabbed me.
I was concerned the day before Thanksgiving when I haven't heard from him.
I asked him, are you sure they just didn't, they're an adventurous couple, sure they just didn't take off for a week or two? And he, without hesitation, said, no, they would not just disappear.
This is Captain Tom Hawks and well-deserved.
Tom and Jackie Hawks were in the process of selling the vessel to this other couple, Skylar and Jennifer De Leon. We ran both of them to figure out, because they were probably or potentially the last people to see the Hawks. When we ran Skylar, we automatically find out that he's got a record. He had done jail time for an armed burglary, where he broke into a house with a weapon and was on probation.
His original name at birth was John Julius Jacobson.
When I think of him when I was raising him, I still refer to him sometimes as Little Johnny. He wanted to make everyone happy. He was just always right there trying to make you smile, trying to make things better.
Lisa left Skylar's father, when he was just a little kid.
Skylar grew up in a crazy house.
How did you grow up? Tell me a little bit about the situation.
I pretty much primarily grew up with my dad.
And what kind of guy was he?
Not the best dad.
And in fact, he was involved with drugs and was frequently in trouble with the law.
Yes, sir. He was into manufacturing, speed, and pretty much anything he could make money with.
His father got him into acting, but it was never about Skylar. He wanted Skylar to act so he could make money off of him.
He never really made it big in the business. He had parts in commercials, and I think his biggest role was probably as an extra in the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. The TV series, which was pretty popular in the early 1990s.
You guys were great.
Now the problem is Skylar could never remember his lines. And his dad would yell at him on the set until the producers were basically like, get that guy out of here. He's upsetting Skylar, he's upsetting everyone else. And Skylar hated acting.
You're not good enough for this, you're not good enough for that. Why aren't you this? Why aren't you that? There's an expectation or a level that you're always trying to rise up to, but you can never meet, no matter how hard you try.
Skylar is kind of a weak kid, kind of a little bit effeminate maybe. Skylar's dad pretty much despised him for that and started knocking him around.
So Skylar joined the United States Marine Corps.
he probably never would have joined the Marines, but he thought this would make him look like a man. And as much as he hated his dad, he was also always trying to impress his dad.
He said he was Marine Corps Force Recon, which, for those who don't know, is one of the elite military forces in the United States military. He got a Marine Corps Force Recon tattoo.
He would explain that he had attended all these classes and all this training, and he had, 62 confirmed kills.
When he got out of the Marines, he wanted to change his name to Skylar DeLeon. On the paperwork, it says he doesn't want to be associated by the same name as his father because his father is a bad person and a criminal. It was right before he met Jennifer that he changed his name.
Jennifer Henderson grew up in a way that was the very opposite of how Skylar grew up. She had loving parents. They were very religious. They went to church.
We actually met online.
We just kind of started chatting, and then, we went from there to all of a sudden we started talking on the phone. And then one day we're like, you know what, want to meet.
So they arrange a rendezvous at a local mall. They go to a movie, they spend the whole day together, and that was it. From that moment on, they were pretty much inseparable.
We dated for about a year, and he proposed to me in Catalina. We actually had 2 weddings, a quick one in Corona del Mar on the beach, just family, close friends, barefoot, shorts, very casual, it was very fun. And then the big formal wedding.
Who knows why Jennifer ends up saying yes to Skylar? They're so different in so many ways. He grows up this troubled childhood. She grows up with all these advantages. She has a little bit of a profession going for herself. He's got no career path that we can see.
I'm a hairstylist, and I've done that for 5 years. And he was actually working as an electrician. He had the job. He just hadn't started yet.
According to Jennifer's mother, she thinks that they got pregnant on their wedding night because the timing of it was just so. So, yeah, they had a little girl, Haley, and then they got pregnant again.
They really don't have a lot of assets. Jennifer is the breadwinner.
They were deep in debt. They owed nearly $90,000. They were so poor that they were living in the garage next to Jennifer's parents' home. They had no bathroom, they had no kitchen, they had to go to the main house for that. They already had a very young daughter, and there was a second baby on the way.
You put that all together, and these 2 young people are clearly not qualified to own a 55-foot boat.
We get a search warrant to look at the boat, and they find a bunch of things that are of interest. But they find that it's, number one, it's messy, so Tom Hawks has not left it that way. And they find a receipt from a Target store.
And that receipt shows a purchase of trash bags, Tums, and bleach.
And Dave Byington goes, "That's a kill kit if I ever heard one."
If I was going to kill somebody, I'd have my clean kit, and it would be bags to get rid of evidence, bleach to wipe down the scene, and maybe if I had a conscience, some Tums to settle my stomach after killing some poor people. Target security was able to pull up that specific purchase of these items.
And they're expecting it to be Skylar. And they know what Skylar looks like because he's got a record and he's in the database. But it's not Skylar.
And I was looking at an obese man, which was not Skylar DeLeon. Now we have another little straw on the camel's back saying, okay, who is this guy and why is this receipt on this boat? Who is this clown?
It's been 2 weeks since Tom and Jackie have disappeared. And the police go on board the Well-Deserved, which is moored exactly where it was left.
They find a receipt from a Target store. And every time you purchase anything from a Target store, you're photographed at the cash register and you're photographed leaving. So we get this photograph of this guy, and police trace it back, And it is Steve Henderson, Jennifer's father, who actually made this purchase. So Newport detectives go to his house in Long Beach and they say, is this you in this photograph buying these items? We found this receipt on a boat. He immediately says, yeah, my daughter and son-in-law purchased that boat.
It turns out Jennifer had sent her dad to the store to buy the bleach that Tom's in the trash bag.
Jen's father brings back bleach and some bags, all they say to help clean their new boat. So logically, police ask him, does he know where Jennifer and Skylar are?
He says, they're helping to clean a church right down the street. I think they're there now.
When I see a family volunteering in a church, I was put at ease a little bit with that, thinking, okay, this is going to turn out okay. The Hawks are fine. These people will tell us what happened and we'll be able to locate them and close the case. I was talking to Jennifer and basically said, we're looking for the Hawks. The family's very concerned. And she said, we're really concerned too. And she was very genuine.
It's like, we've known these people, or we don't really know somebody meeting them, but just your nerves kind of go everywhere. And
she goes, we've been trying to reach out to them continually since we bought it. They have a lot of property, clothes and stuff on the vessel. We don't know what to do. She was very specific and seemed very genuine in her concern for the Hawks and finding them.
Skylar says, we purchased it. All the documents were proper. They signed them. We recorded them. I don't know what else to tell you.
We told Skylar that we needed copies of the paperwork. He told us that he had certified, notarized paperwork regarding the sale, so the sale was legitimate.
He produces these documents indicating that Skylar and Jennifer had purchased the boat from Tom and Jackie Hawks. There are signatures on it. There are fingerprints on it.
A notary public had already certified these documents that Tom and Jackie were present when selling. Everything was legitimate. Everything was on the up and up.
I was shaking my head going, okay, I still can't get a handle on this guy. The following day, he agreed to go to the Newport Beach Police Department. Well, we had him in a proper interview and recorded the interview.
What else is coming? We're still in the same position we were yesterday. These folks are still missing. The family is very concerned, and it's understandable.
Skylar was very forthright. He was very, very interested in finding where the Hawks were.
How did you hear about the vessel being sold?
In the sport fishing.
Sport fishing? Yeah, were you looking to buy a boat?
I'm pretty much always looking.
It strikes the cops odd that this young guy who doesn't really seem to have a lot of means had nearly $500,000 to buy this boat.
We spent like $485 on it.
Of course, one of the big questions is, well, hey man, where'd you get the money? And he goes, look, as you look into my background, you're going to see I was involved in a burglary. In reality, that was a part of a dope rip. That was a drug ripoff.
And no matter what, truth, it'll come out no matter what.
At this point, I already knew Skylar was on probation for an armed burglary, so he's a felon. And now he said, I'm telling you, Sergeant, I want to go straight with my family. I'm a father now. I have another child on the way. So I'm trying to invest this money in a way that I can support them.
I have a bunch of money that I have nowhere to spend. Right. And if I bring it here, I'm going to get in trouble. I can't really go to Mexico to spend it because I'm on probation.
Okay.
I'm kind of rocking a hard place.
I go, so you're legitimizing this money that was illegal. And he copped out basically to money laundering.
It is rather disarming when you're trying to find the Hawks and he's admitting to the money laundering piece on his side. It was unusual that someone would admit that to the police.
You didn't have to. You could have told me, hey man, I inherited the money. I did whatever. You were very honest with me, and that's all I'm asking for.
Who would come up with a story that they used money laundered drug money to buy a boat unless it was really true?
Skylar is so cool, calm, and collected. He said, look, we went out, took the boat for a run. We all came back. We loved the boat.
So you got the money, and you initiate a call to the Hawks?
Yeah, I called him up and told him, hey, I'm ready, and asked him if it was okay, can you help my wife? And they said,
Forget, he's still in jail while this is going on. So he has to hurry back from the border so he can make his nightly check-in over at the jail.
My wife wakes me up, Jeff. You gotta get up. Your brother's been murdered in Mexico.
Thinking of his last minutes, what they must have been. That's what I wake up to every night.
When you think of how good of a con man Skylar was to convince this man to take out $50,000 and drive him across the border and then slit his throat and leave him to die on the side of the road, it's horrifying.
Mexican police had interviewed Skylar De Leon way back in 2003 about the murder of John Jarvie, but that case was totally unresolved until the Newport Beach case came along.
I don't think John Jarvie's homicide would have ever been solved had it not been for our department getting involved. Absolutely not.
But then police are looking for a break in the Hawks case.
The other person they interviewed was Kathleen Harris. Kathleen Harris had no criminal background at all. She was a professional notary, never been in trouble a day in her life.
I'm still trying to track info down. I just talked to them today and they're still looking for it.
Kathleen Harris was a notary who was introduced to the De Leons.
She says she was there when Skylar bought the boat from the Hawks.
I drove down to Newport and met Skylar and his wife and the couple.
Her story was that Tom and Jackie Hawks had signed these documents in front of her.
She watched this transaction. She notarized the documents.
It just didn't make sense. There's no way Kathleen Harris saw Tom and Jackie Hawks.
We had interviewed Kathleen Harris, I want to say 4 or 5 times, and she would not come off her story.
And I got there and I just notarized the documents.
Keith and I were having a pretty heated argument about it.
I told him, I said, you need to have someone else interview Kathleen Harris. And he goes, fine. You want to interview her? You call her in and interview her.
This is Corn. Hi, I'm Keith. Corlin. Nice to meet you.
I just remember trying to confront her to tell the truth.
I'm asking for your help.
I know.
Are you part of these people's disappearance? Did you hurt these people that are missing?
No. I knew she was lying. I knew it just by her nonverbal, her body language.
There's no doubt in your mind that 2 people signed these documents in front of you. Right now, see, you're hesitant. No, baloney. This is what I'm talking about. Listen to me really well. Tell me right now the truth. Those people that are missing signed those documents is what you're telling me. I don't believe you. You were hesitant to begin with. Tell me the truth, Kathleen. Tell me the truth.
I am.
She was nervous. Her voice was cracking. She was looking down.
Kathleen, these people didn't sign these documents in front of you, did they?
When I filled out the log, they have to sign it and put their thumbprint.
Okay, and you took their thumbprints.
I'm 90% sure.
No, there's no 90. Kathleen, there's no 90. It's either 100 or it's nothing. You're being wishy-washy.
Yes, they did.
Kathleen, give me a break. I mean, my 4-year-old would do better than this.
Honestly.
Kathleen, no, honestly. I want to know the truth. I want to know the truth.
I know, and I'm telling you what happened.
She stuck to her story. She didn't come off it. She didn't change it.
I remember Keith coming out and saying, I'm sorry. And I'm thinking, are you kidding me? I think you pushed her. I think we got her. The next call we got was from an attorney representing her, said that she wanted to come in and make a statement.
And she finally says, no, we were not in the parking lot, like I said before.
She'd never met Tom and Jackie Hawks. She was given documents and paid in cash to backdate the documents. And that was one of the most significant breaks we had in the investigation, because now we knew Skylar and Jennifer never had that notarized with Tom and Jackie, and that was false.
That was the first domino to fall. Then we started pressuring everybody else, because we knew everybody else had lied to us too.
You know, likely this case very easily could have never been solved. It could have, like that, just been another unsolved missing persons case. Except for one thing, Alonzo McChain. He's about to give cops the break they need to bring the convictions they need.
Still no sign of Thomas and Jackie Hawks, but bit by bit, police are slowly beginning to unravel the mystery surrounding their disappearance.
Good morning, Alonzo. Good morning. We just want to know what you know. Alonzo McChain was actually a jailer in the Seal Beach City Jail where Skylar was serving time, so that's how they meet.
We focused on Alonzo because we thought he would be a weakling too.
He is going to save his own skin. He's not going to go down for this.
He turned himself in, and Alonzo McChain took us detail by detail through the conspiracy to murder Tom and Jackie Hawks.
When I met Skylar, he started talking about that he had all this money, that
chilling details were laid out by one of the people who was on board that yacht and who took part in the murders.
He said that he was going to do something that he was going to make some money, a couple $1 million.
Skylar tells him that he's an international hitman.
He gets his contracts out on people, and they're all bad people because he'll only kill bad people. He won't kill good people. So he's an assassin with, with a conscience.
He said, what I do is just take them out to sea and toss them overboard.
Skylar promised Alonzo $1 million.
All you had to do was kill this couple and we could get their boat and their savings. And for whatever reason, Alonzo McChain thought, that's a good idea, I'll go along with it.
Alonzo and Skylar go aboard the Well-Deserved.
Tom had worked in probation. He'd worked with ex-cons. His suspicions immediately went up, meeting Skylar DeLeon and Alonzo McChain, because they just didn't seem like the type of guys who could afford to buy a yacht, going for more than $400,000.
So what does Skylar do to solve that problem? He immediately calls Jennifer and says, you gotta bring Haley down, their 1-year-old, and put these people at ease.
Jennifer shows up, and she completely charms Jackie. Jackie, the one who wanted to go and play with her grandson.
My stepmother definitely fell hook, line, and sinker for that woman and her baby.
That's actually the linchpin in the whole thing. Like, had it not been for that, Tom and Jackie Hawks would still be alive today.
At the same time, Skylar's sizing up Tom, and he knows he's going to need more help because he can't overpower him on his own.
He started sizing up Mr. Hawk, and he said, well, I could take him, but it's better to have somebody else.
Skylar realizes that if they're going to actually pull this thing off, they need to get a big guy to sign on to this.
Skylar meets John F. Kennedy through a mutual friend who Skylar had worked with.
John Fitzgerald Kennedy was an original founding member of the Long Beach Insane Crips, so he became the muscle in this whole scheme.
They're leaving Newport Beach Harbor like they've done many, many times before. On board is Skylar DeLeon, Alonzo McChain, and John F. Kennedy. Tom and Jackie Hawks think they're just taking this boat out for a test run. They have no idea what's in store for them.
A Long Beach gang member, a Seal Beach jail security officer, and Skylar DeLeon. Weird. So they leave Newport Harbor and set a course out towards Catalina.
As they're heading out, the plan kind of goes into formation.
At some point, they get Jackie and Tom separated.
Skylar and John Kennedy went downstairs with Tom Hawks. Meanwhile, Jackie's in the kitchen, and she hears this ruckus.
And Alonzo knows, it's going down. It's going down right now.
That struggle is Kennedy overpowering Tom Hawks.
He was able to restrain Tom Hawks long enough to get him handcuffed. Meanwhile, it's Alonzo's job to subdue Jackie Hawks.
Jackie's here, Alonzo's here, and then that's where Thomas Hawks, Skylar, and JFK are on the bottom. And Jackie hears the commotion. She looks down this way, and this is where Alonzo overpowers her.
They're laid down next to each other on the bed. Jackie was pleading for her life. She was saying, I just want to see my grandson.
Jackie is begging. And she says to Skylar, how could you do this? How could you do this to us? You brought your pregnant wife on board. We met your daughter.
She's screaming to Skylar, we trusted you. Why are you doing this?
Mr. and Mrs. Hawks tied up together.
Tom is stroking her hand, trying to comfort her.
And this is when you hear the part about Tom stroking her hand. It curves down here to put her at ease. I don't like being down here.
It's one of the most poignant things I've ever heard in my career. It's okay, sweetheart. We're going to be together. Where we're going, we're going to be together.
Each of them is brought up to sign documents. It's essentially turning the boat over to Skylar DeLeon and giving him access to their bank accounts.
You need to sign this, and if you cooperate, we'll let you go.
But there was something very interesting about the way Jackie Hawks with an S signed her name. It's H-A-W-K.
She's smart enough to mess up her signature. She signs it Hawk instead of Hawks with an S.
She was sending a signal. I'm doing this under duress.
And it looked like somebody went back later and put in an S, totally inconsistent with any way she'd ever signed her name. This is a woman who knows that she is going to her death. This is a woman who knows that she is about to be murdered. And she is sending this flare up into the future for somebody to make it right.
Meanwhile, Skylar, he's up setting the GPS to go out to the deepest point in the ocean. It's 3,500 feet. It's the deepest place.
Then Skylar said he has seen an anchor.
Went to the front and grabbed this huge anchor and brought it back, put it in the back of the boat.
And they handcuffed them to the anchor. And at that point, Tom, his fight instinct kicks in.
He kicks backwards, and he kicks so hard, he kicks Skylar in the groin and hard enough that he almost falls over. That was the last act of defiance.
Skylar stands up with a smirk, tosses this huge anchor off the side of the boat.
The weight of the anchor, it goes tight. And suddenly, they're being pulled across the deck. Jackie's head knocks into the side. Boom, and you can hear it.
And then out an open door. And they both fall into the ocean.
They were very much alive when they were dumped into the ocean.
The weight of the anchor pulls them down to the bottom of the deepest part of the sea.
Skylar gives out a woohoo after it happens, and then leans overboard and watches until the water becomes still. And that's what happened.
What was Skylar acting? Maybe while this was happening, he was calm with the most normal thing.
And then actually turned the boat around.
Then Kennedy found a fishing pole.
Decides he's going to fish on the way back to Newport Harbor.
John F. Kennedy took a beer from the Hawks fridge.
Takes one of Tom Hawks' beers.
No problem, just ended two people's lives. Let's have a beer. Ridiculous.
It's hard to believe anybody could do such a terrible crime, especially a guy like mild-mannered Skylar de Leon. And then there's the motive.
Was it just for the boat? Was that it? But maybe that wasn't all, as we learn later.
What else should we know?
When Skylar was arrested, Jennifer was still out of custody. We still really didn't have enough information or evidence against her to prosecute her on much of anything at that point.
She, at the time, she stuck by her man.
How confident are you that Skylar had nothing to do with Tom and Jackie Hawks presumably being murdered or at least missing?
I am very confident, as confident as I can be that Skylar will be home soon.
What we still don't know is Jennifer's role.
There was a split of opinions within Newport Beach PD. Some thought she was the Ice Queen and the second coming of Satan herself, and others thought that she was just the dutiful wife who got caught up in her husband's nefarious dealings.
Did you know anything about the crime?
No. We extended immunity to Jennifer. We said, look, tell us what happened.
It was the ultimate offer. It was a get-out-of-jail-free card. All she would have had to do was testify against her husband.
And incredibly, she turned it down.
She had a chance to save herself, and she chose to stick by Skylar.
They almost completed each other. Jennifer and Skylar, before they met, hadn't committed any crimes that we're aware of really as individuals. But when they met, it was like fire and gasoline.
Do you have any fear? I know it's been speculated that they may arrest you.
Most definitely. Not knowing if that is something that happens, to constantly be wondering I nursed my son. Is this the last time I'm going to nurse my child? This is the last time I'm going to tuck Haley into bed. I mean, it's terrifying.
Good girl.
23-year-old Jennifer just beat behind her 25-year-old husband, Skylar, as their attorneys entered their plea. Jennifer DeLeon is finally arrested, and that is really surprising because she was not on the boat at the time of the murders. And at that point, everybody's wondering, well, how did she play a part? The attorney for Jennifer DeLeon, who just gave birth to her second child several weeks ago, says she wants her tried separately.
The first person to go on trial was Jennifer DeLeon, and I think that she was still operating under the belief that she could blame Skylar for everything that had happened.
DeLeon's attorney during trial insisted she did not know what her husband was planning until after the Hawks were killed. She only did what she did out of fear of her husband.
The defense for Jennifer was that she was not a part of this whole thing. She didn't know what was going to happen. She was forced into it.
But as the evidence unfolded, nobody bought that. Everybody knew who was in charge, and it wasn't Skylar.
How much in charge was Jen?
I think we had our roles reversed.
Was she the brains in the family?
I hate that, yeah.
Skylar did not make a move without running it by Jennifer. At every significant event during the murder of Tom and Jackie Hawks, he called Jennifer. They get down to the Newport Beach, he calls Jennifer. They get on the boat out to sea, he calls Jennifer. They get out where they tied Tom and Jackie Hawks to that anchor begging for their lives. First thing Skylar did is call Jennifer.
She knew exactly what was going on because Skylar kept her informed before, during, and after the murders.
That woman was physically not on the boat during the murders, but she was absolutely on the boat with guidance in spirit.
Jennifer was always on Skylar for nice things. She wanted to move out, and she put a lot of pressure on Skylar to make that happen for her.
Well, I mean, she wanted that fairy tale life.
Jennifer is seen with a grin on her face as they're trying to take money out of the Hawks' accounts after they murdered them.
And her whole defense was she was terrified of Skylar. She only went along with it because she was afraid that Skylar might kill her too. And she has a gigantic grin on her face, the look of a woman whose financial problems and debt problems are about to be solved, not somebody that's afraid of the man that she's with.
For her to say that she was not involved in any way was an outright lie.
Jennifer DeLeon was convicted of murder and sentenced to life in prison.
Jennifer DeLeon, mother of two, guilty of their murders.
She was convicted of the murders of Tom and Jackie Hawks and received a sentence of life without possibility of parole.
Although her family suffers because she's loved, they'll still get a chance to see her say their last words and say their thoughts. They'll be seeing her through plexiglass. But to see my parents, I have to look through 3,600 of the cold Pacific Ocean.
So here's the question. Why did they do it? Why did they go after these complete strangers? Murder them so coldly? Was it just for the boat? Was that it? But maybe that wasn't all, as we learn later.
During the investigation, there were some points that came up where Skylar's gender identity was questioned, that he believes he was transgender, and that was possibly a motive for not only the Jarvie homicide, but the Hawks homicide to facilitate payment for his transgender surgery.
I interviewed Skylar DeLeon in jail in 2009. Just before the interview, Skylar was rushed to the hospital after an incident at the jail.
He actually tries to cut his own penis off in jail.
I basically ripped a piece of sheet and tied it around my lower extremity, and I went to cut it off.
And this has been something you've been thinking about for a while?
Yeah, for a long time.
Tell me about what's behind that.
Well, I guess it's something that I've always felt like as young as I could remember, and like always wanted.
To be a woman?
Yes, but I'm not attracted to guys, but I wanted the surgery.
So then when you get to jail, why did you figure you were never going to get the surgery, so might as well try it yourself?
I guess so, kind of in a way. I just said, you know what, I'm I'll do it myself, but they got to me too quick.
So you're still a man?
Unfortunately.
Skylar De Leon had put money down to get a sex change prior to this crime.
We found actually a receipt where Skylar had paid $500 to a surgeon who specialized in gender reassignment surgery.
I mean, he lies so much. You never know when you're getting wrapped up in yet another con job. Maybe he just wanted to say, how could I do it? I'm weak, I'm frail, I'm practically a woman, right? Maybe it's just yet another con job.
I mean, should we walk away from this program, this interview, knowing only that you cold-bloodedly killed 3 people?
No.
What else should we know?
A former child actor will stand trial for murder in a scheme to steal a yacht from a retired couple.
They disappeared 4 years ago.
Their bodies were never recovered.
My family and I have been waiting for this day for a long time.
So Skylar De Leon goes on trial in the fall of 2008, 2 years after his wife had been convicted. He's charged with murdering Tom and Jackie Hawks, and also John Jarvie in Mexico.
Ryan Hawks sat just feet away from the man who allegedly murdered his father and mother, Thomas and Jackie Hawks, for their boat and their life savings.
I want him to know that I'm there. I want him to realize, this is what he took from me and the rest of my family.
Jurors also deciding if De Leon killed John Jarvie. Prosecutors allege De Leon took $50,000 from Jarvie, slit his throat, and dumped him in Mexico.
For us, the trial was not about revenge. It's about protecting society from this man to do more damage.
To my surprise, when Skylar's attorney got up, he went to a large flip chart.
Stood before jurors and in bold letters wrote, Skylar is guilty of all 3 murders.
Because we were going to lose anyway. He was going to get convicted.
They had the evidence and they had somebody who was there confess.
If I tried to mislead them during the guilt phase, then they're not going to believe me when I get up there and talk about the penalty phase.
His defense was that Skylar had been abused as a boy. He was abused at the hands of his father.
Not only in the physical abuse, the sexual abuse, the emotional abuse, but the abandonment issues. Everybody in his life basically abandoned him at one time or another.
When you think about your childhood, what do you think about it?
I hated it. I mean, there's lots of times I wished I was dead. I've hated my childhood.
When Skylar was caught biting his nails, John would stick toothpicks up in between his nails into his finger beds because that would teach him.
Your dad physically abused you, beat you.
Yeah.
And then he had a friend who sexually abused you.
Yes.
So how does that terrible childhood have any relevance to the situation we're in today where 3 people are murdered in his hands?
So you try to explain as best you can who the person is and hopefully get some sympathy from the jury that might impact on whether they vote to impose the death penalty or not.
I think the defense attorney did the best he could, but he didn't have much to work with.
There's only one problem with Skylar's defense. You have to believe him, and he's a proven liar.
He is a pathetic figure in a lot of ways, and he has a hard time telling the truth.
In my 26-year career as a prosecutor, Skylar De Leon is the best liar that I've ever seen. For example, he said he was Marine Corps Force Recon.
To hear Skylar tell it, he was this deadly trained sniper. He was sent to the Middle East where he would take care of business for the government.
He did join the Marines at one point, but even that he wasn't successful at. He left after about a couple of weeks, went AWOL.
You told people you were a sniper.
Oh, yes.
You weren't, but you told people that.
Yes.
Give me a little insight in that. Skylar, why would you do those things?
I don't know. I guess just trying to impress people I was around, I guess.
Skylar seemed happy to talk about his gender surgery, but he didn't want to talk about his murder victims. John Jarvie. Was he a friend of yours?
Acquaintance, I guess. Just somebody I'd met at the jail. I mean, I didn't even really know him that good.
Did you kill him?
I can't go into that.
Skylar De Leon is one of the most haunting figures I've ever interviewed. How he tied these poor people up in an anchor and threw them off the boat while they were still alive. It was just the worst thing I could ever think of. Should we walk away from this program, this interview, knowing only that you cold-bloodedly killed 3 people?
No.
What else should we know?
Personally, I don't think I'm the person that they portrayed 100%. I mean, I think generally good person just with a really bad decision. For the most part, I mean, I'm a nice person. I treat everybody nice.
What do you want people to know about Skylar DeLeon?
To get it out there, I guess I'm sorry. And can, take some things back. It's probably one of the biggest things.
Ryan Hawk, who is the spokesman, of course, for the family, the son, told us that your apology is more about you. You're sorry that you got caught, but you're not really sorry about his family, his parents.
Well, I would say, I'm definitely sorry to his parents. I wish I could take back that time and give him back, his parents, because it's like now I realize what he's lost.
DeLeon was convicted for the murders of Thomas and Jackie Hawks.
Skylar was convicted of the murder of Tom and Jackie Hawks, and also John Jarvie.
The jury took 2 days to find him worthy of being sentenced to death. I don't think there was any surprise.
The jury recommended the death penalty. That's what the former child actor got.
A few months after Skylar's convicted, another accomplice, John F. Kennedy, he was the muscle. He's tried, convicted, and sentenced to death.
It's a big relief. We've been waiting for this for a very long time.
Skylar has finally, I think, become the person that she has always wanted to be.
Skylar DeLeon and John Fitzgerald Kennedy received the death penalty and are on death row. Jennifer DeLeon received 2 licenses in her involvement. She's in prison now.
At the end of the day, they all get what they deserve. Only Alonzo will ever see the light of day again.
We decided that a 20-year sentence was appropriate for him, given his cooperation, given his instrumental role in the prosecution of all these other people that were involved in the conspiracy.
Justice was served because these people were found guilty, but it's never a win because Ryan and Matt lost their parents. Mrs. Jarvie lost her son. Now that the governor has taken the death penalty off the table, they're getting 3 squares a day and living their life. So I have really mixed feelings on that.
Skylar has finally, I think, become the person that she has always wanted to be. Skylar is now legally a woman. She has filed court papers and she has changed her name from Skylar Julius DeLeon to Skylar Preciosa DeLeon.
And it's worth remembering, I know I do, that even as we were interviewing him, Skylar was already planning how he could live with women in jail and not men. There's some talk about one of the reasons you wanted to do this, you wanted to be in the women's jail?
Yeah, I would rather be, because I get along a lot better with female than I do with guys. So if I'm going to be doing time, at least maybe I could do it with females than guys.
Over time, he was growing more and more effeminate looking. He asked for female underwear and a bra, and eventually, as the criminal justice system has been kind of changing with the culture, she was allowed to start wearing those things. And she wants to be called a she.
He's receiving hormones on the state tax dollars. I think he's petitioned to have the surgery done, but you shouldn't be rewarded for brutally murdering 3 people so you can get your way.
Any chance they get to take advantage of the system, to get some sort of benefit that they think they deserve, we are sending the wrong message.
The lingering thoughts I have about the case are just the senselessness of it. Stupid people doing stupid things and vicious things.
This case is probably one of the few that just sheer evil is involved.
I was a prosecutor for 26 years. This is a case I will personally never forget.
They're evil personified. The scariest people I've ever met.
I had a recruit.
कोई चावल रत ना दे असी माया टुर जाना तुसी मालक वत ना दे असी माया टुर जाना असी माया टुर जाना तुसी मालक वत ना दे उत्ते जा बैठा आया सी मेहमान जना डोला अखियां वेला बैठा आया सी मेहमान जना आया सी मेहमान जना डोला अखियां वेला बैठा हाल फकीरां दा दिल नूं वे चंगा लगदा एक माई कश्मीरां दा दिल नूं चंगा लगदा दिल नूं वे चंगा लगदा एक माई कश्मीरां दा सब चिलसा जिंदगी ते मेल चना रही जिंदगी ते फिर मिलसा जिंदगी ते मेल चना जिंदगी ते मेल चना रही जिंदगी ते फिर मिलसा काली बेचा पीती सोने लोकां ने दुनिया तबाह कीती सोने लोकां ने दुनिया तबाह कीती गड्डियां दे काले नी असी हुण टुर चले तुसी रब दे हवाले नी असी हुण टुर चले असी हुण टुर चले तुसी रब दे हवाले नी कोई चावल रत ना दे असी माया टुर जाना तुसी मालक वतना दे असी माया टुर जाना असी माया टुर जाना तुसी मालक वतना दे कोई कालवे मोरोंदा तेरे पीछे कानू रुल दे जे कोई तेरे जे आयो रोंदा तेरे पीछे कानू रुल दे तेरे पीछे कानू रुल दे जे कोई तेरे जे आयो रोंदा खड़े उत्ते जा बैठा